Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a brilliant true crime podcast hosted by two zany sisters, all while baking up delicious treats in their kitchen. Here are your podcast hosts, Karen Devaney and Ann Varner.
The Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast. You know that family whose house you hung out in when you were a kid? The house was a little loud and chaotic, but always fun, and sometimes felt more home than home. Well, that's us.
We're the Wilsons, and we welcome you into our podcast with silly chat, ridiculous games, and interviews with interesting people.
Like a spin doctor. The Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast.
Welcome home.
Hi, I'm Dan from Casting Views, and you're listening to Karen and Ann on the Sugar Coated Murder Podcast. Hi, I'm Dan from Casting Views, and you're listening to Karen and Ann on the Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.
Do you have a murder?
I have a murder.
You're going to talk about a murder?
I'm going to talk about a murder.
I'm going to sit back and relax because guess what? I don't have to do a murder.
No, you got the
this
night
week.
off. They
I got
took
the
your
night
place
off. I
tonight.
love it.
Also,
Thank you so much.
You owe them some money.
Oh, wow.
we probably spoke too much, didn't we? So it's
Well, do you know what it is? Maybe in actual fact, we've pulled 2 episodes for you because you could just
That's
cut
right.
mine and Dan's one up, and then you can turn around and do your one, and you've got 2 episodes.
You act like I'm that good at editing.
Oh, my gosh. That's silly. No, you guys did a great job.
Y'all did a great job. And I mean, that was a lot of murders. So you're not going to just skip over them.
No,
You had
you had to get the detail in.
You wouldn't want to skip anything.
Mm-mm.
So,
All right. What you got?
So I am going to talk about a girl named Samantha Josephson.
All right.
And she was born in 1997, and her parents are Seymour and Marcy Josephson in Princeton, New Jersey.
Seymour.
I know his name was Seymour. I
Wow.
love that name.
I didn't know people really named their people Seymour.
They evidently people do.
Wow.
People name their people that.
Amazing.
So Samantha grew up in a place called Robbinsville, New Jersey. She graduated from Robbinsville High School in 2015, and she was known by her friends as Sammy.
Sammy.
Yeah. I go back and forth between Sammy and Samantha. I was introduced to her as Samantha.
Oh, okay.
That was the first article I read with her
Was
about
she
her
a
was Samantha, so that'll stick in my
She could be
head.
Sammy.
So she attended the University of South Carolina
Oh,
in
look at
Columbia,
that.
South Carolina, not too far
Wow.
from here. And she was set to graduate in May of 2019. In March of 2019, she got accepted into the Drexel University Law School. I think Drexel is in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So she was going to go to law school afterwards. And her aspirations in life was to actually work for the United Nations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. She's big. She was big, really smart girl, really smart. So March 28th, 2019, Samantha joined her friends out to celebrate the good news that she had just gotten about her law school acceptance. So they were out to celebrate her specifically. Samantha's boyfriend, Craig, did not join them that night, but the couple kept in touch through phone calls and texts throughout the night. The group gathered at a popular bar in Columbia called Bird Dog, and it's in this community called Five Points, which is like a favorite spot of all the college students. It was like a lot of bars and restaurants and stuff. It was a big social spot. Around 2 a.m., the friend group that she was with, they were leaving the bar. It was closing, and the street outside was really crowded, and she got separated from her friends.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
So she texted her boyfriend and told him that she just went ahead and ordered an Uber to take her back to her apartment. And at that point, I was like, what did I write? Okay. At that point, her devoted boyfriend began to track her phone through Find My Friends to make sure she got home safely. He knew the route. I mean, he was very familiar with the area, but he just wanted to make sure. So when he noticed that the Uber was headed out of town, he figured she had made it home and probably left her phone behind in the Uber, and that's why it was headed out of town.
Right.
So he went to bed. Unfortunately, that's far from what actually happened. The next morning, Sammy's roommates noticed that it didn't appear that she had ever come home that night. And they called Greg, the boyfriend, to say, have you heard from her? And he was like, no, I thought she got home. And they said, well, evidently she never came home. Doesn't look like she's been home. So he immediately, he was 2 hours away. He immediately started driving towards Columbia, got in the car, no questions asked. So then they found out that she did not show up for her job, which was completely out of character for her. And they really began to worry. So when Greg got into Columbia, he and one of her friends went back to the Bird Dog to see what they could find out from Bird Dog, like from the manager or anybody that was there, you know. And the manager actually let them look at the security footage, which is really nice because a lot of times they make you wait till the police get there.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually had an on-street camera.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they could see her standing on a corner, kind of off to herself. It was 2 a.m. She was on her phone. They also saw a black Chevy Impala car go past her, do an illegal U-turn, come back down the street, and then almost jumps the curb trying to get to her to pull into a spot next to her.
Oh, wow.
So as he's pulling into the spot, she starts walking towards him and gets into the back seat. You can see on the video, she's on the phone. She takes the phone away from her ear. She says something to the guy, gets in and closes the door.
Right. Like it's her Uber.
Yeah, that's right. She's probably like, are you here for Samantha?
Right.
When they saw this footage, they got a really bad sinking feeling and they called the police to come to the bar. And the boyfriend called her parents in New Jersey and they started driving from New Jersey, left her sister at home to man the phones in case Sam called home.
Right.
So meantime, we laugh. Sorry. So sorry. I just picture Lou's face like, what? Kidding me? Sorry, Lou. Meantime, hunters in New Zion, South Carolina, discovered the body of a female in a wooded area. They call the police, and the body is in very bad shape. It was obvious that she had been the victim of violence. This was 65 miles away from where Sammy was last seen at the Bird Dog. They identified her as USC student Samantha Josephson. Her clothes were so bloodied that they couldn't tell what color they originally were.
Oh, no.
Her sandals were on her feet. Her sandals were not on her feet, but they were still attached by the ankle straps.
Oh.
But the little toe piece had popped off and her feet, like both of her feet were not even in the shoe.
Oh, wow.
So obviously there had been a struggle and she had been stabbed at least 100 times.
Oh.
And 100 stab wounds is a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot to put on a body. Like, you think how much room, how much space could there be for that?
It's almost like there's not enough space.
Right.
Yeah.
So she had been stabbed all over her head, her throat, her chest, her upper torso, mostly on the right side of her body. She only had less than 2 tablespoons of blood left in her body.
Oh my God.
We usually have about a gallon and she's down to less than 2 tablespoons.
Wow.
They didn't have enough to be able to run a toxicology report on her.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's how little, like she had completely bled out.
Wow.
The police are now putting the pieces together from what happened at the bar and then this person in the woods. It's the same person. Now they're going to go and they're going to try to find this black Chevy Impala, a very common car. It's not like it was a Rolls Royce that was purple. Like it was a very common car.
Yeah.
Can I just add as a note there as well? I actually wrote down on my Word document open, Chevy Impala, why is it always used in murders? Because I don't know what it is. Isn't it the car that shot Tupac as well? Was a Chevy Impala?
Was it? Just makes you wonder. It is a very common type of car, and it's not. I don't think it's an overly expensive car.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
So I think that's why it's very common, and people like us that can't afford expensive cars. Ironically, the next day, the police come across a black Chevy Impala parked almost in the same area as the Bird Dog.
Wow!
And so they approach the car. The driver gets out and runs away.
Of course he does.
But he's caught 2 blocks over. So in the car, they're looking in the car. They find Sammy's phone in the back seat. It was a rose gold iPhone. So it was not overly common to see that, but they knew what they were looking for.
Right.
It was her phone. And they also there was a bunch of cleaning supplies in the back seat. So, of course, they immediately impound the car and they take the driver to the police station. The driver's name is Nathaniel Rowland. He's 24 years old, of Columbia, South Carolina. His parents lived less than 5 miles away from the dump site in New Zion.
Oh.
Wow.
So now we know he's got connections to the area.
Right. There's a reason he went there.
So they go to his address on his driver's license that's listed as where he's living in Columbia. And his girlfriend is there. He has a small child with her, a toddler.
Oh, man.
They have a child together. And she lets the police in and cooperates immediately with the police.
Wow.
So this is what she told them. She said that when he came to pick her up, she worked at McDonald's. When he came to pick her up for her shift, he had her uniform top and visor in his car, and he was supposed to go launder it. When he brought it to where it was soaking wet, and she had to put it on wet and go to work.
Oh my God.
She said, "Where's the visor?" And he said, "Out in the country."
Oh no.
She was like, "Why is it in the country?" And he said, "Mind your business."
Oh my.
So then she gets in the car and she notices. So he said, "You need to drive." She's like, "Okay." So she's driving and she notices that he's got wipes, like Clorox wipes. He's put on rubber gloves. And now he's wiping things down with this
my
Clorox.
gosh.
And she's like, what are
you doing? Right.
And he said, "Mind your business."
Mind your business.
She also noticed that there was a sheet in the car tied up behind. It was tied to the headrest of the driver's side and draped across the back seat.
Oh, God.
And it had blood on it. And she was like, "What is that thing?"
Mind your business.
And he said, "Mind your business." Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
She keeps saying
normal human behavior at this point.
Exactly. Yes. So they have a small child together. So they need to put the child in the car with them. And at first he said, "She can't ride in the back seat." And the girl was like, "Well, what are we going to do? We have to put her car seat in."
Right.
Like, what is your problem? So she goes to put the car seat in and buckle the child in, and the seat is wet.
Oh, no.
And when she got the child out, she noticed the child had blood on her shoe.
No.
That seat was soaked with blood.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
So she's like, "Okay, something weird is happening."
Yeah.
And he keeps telling her to mind her business. And he starts using stronger and stronger language with her.
Right.
Because she started, I don't know, giving him a hard time about her visor because that's part of her uniform.
Yeah.
And I think he said something to her like, "You'll end up in the country if you like, you'll end up in the country with your visor," or something. Like she just said something was completely off.
Right.
So she lets the police into the apartment and they start looking around and they find in the garbage can out in the back the bloody white sheet that had been in the car. And they also find some of his clothes that had blood on it. They found, what they said was the weapon, and it's like a utility knife, but it's a double-bladed utility knife. It's the craziest looking thing. I've never seen this, but it actually lined up with a lot of her stabbings where there were parallel marks, like one next to each other, and they were. So he was stabbing her with both blades at the same time, which is crazy.
Probably stabbed her 50 times, but there were 2 blades.
Not all of them were 2-bladed though.
Oh.
It's weird because you could switch it to 1 blade or 2 blades.
Wow.
So it was crazy. She said that she had seen him trying to clean what she thought was mud, but ended up being blood off of this double-bladed utility knife at the apartment. They actually find not just the sheet, but some bloody paper towels. They also find a handwritten list.
Uh-oh.
And here's what the list says. Duct tape her whole body.
Oh.
Gloves.
Oh.
All black. Flip phone. Gasoline. Matches. And it's his handwriting because they did a handwriting analysis on it, and more than 50% of the words they could say were definitely his. So, of course, back at the police station, they are processing the car. And this was the saddest thing to me. They could see one of Samantha's barefoot prints
on the
window, on the back, one of the back windows where she was trying to probably kick the window out to get away. And at that point, I told you her feet were out of her shoes, but just attached to her ankle by the straps. She was really fighting for her life. And they also find blood. There's so much blood. There is blood on the dashboard, on the console, on the back of the seats, on the floor, on the seats, on the doors, on the ceiling. It is everywhere. And it is just saturated because she bled out in this car.
Yeah.
So all of her blood is in this car.
Gosh.
Yes.
The
And
seats
then,
must be very absorbent.
oh, I know. Well, it's going to take a lot of cleaning.
Yeah.
So Sammy's body showed that she had put up a serious fight. She had stab wounds, and some of them had gone all the way through her hands.
Wow.
So where she was putting up a fight. And you got to think, you're in the backseat of a car.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm laughing because I forgot those two were on. So when the male voice came across my ears, I jumped.
She's sitting on the floor
So
with her
sorry if I
dog.
made you jump.
She's sitting on the floor with her dog, so he'll be quiet. And so she forgot y'all were here.
I'm so sorry.
So it's like, the murderer's here.
How rude. How rude.
Rude. Very rude. So anyway, she had put up a fight. She had defense wounds on her hands, and they also found some of his DNA under her fingernails.
Wow.
He had used the child safety locks in the car and
So
the
she couldn't
window
get out.
lock to keep her
Oh,
captive.
that's so mean.
Yes, and the girlfriend said we always have those on because of the
Right, because of
toddler
the
in the back
baby,
seat.
yeah.
Because you don't put them in the middle of the car anymore. You have to put them on one of the sides.
Right.
So you always have to lock the window and the door because they'll play with it and let themselves fall out. So anyway, that's how he had kept her in there. By the way, he had never been an Uber driver.
Oh no. So he wasn't the guy.
He wasn't never the Uber driver.
Oh no.
He was a killer on the prowl. That's what he was.
Wow.
And she was an opportunity. That's the saddest part to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That she got into this car and thought it was her Uber. And back then, Uber didn't have all these things in the car that could let you
Right.
know.
This was in 2019, and I know that they've made some
Huge.
adjustments.
So Roland is charged with kidnapping and murder, and then there's a weapons charge using a weapon in a violent crime. They'll throw everything at you that they can, when they arrest you. So his defense in court said that because none of Samantha's DNA was found on him at the time of his arrest, that he couldn't have done it.
That's not the way it works.
Right.
And
Right.
he said, well, maybe she had DNA under her fingernails, but he didn't have any of hers under his. Well, he was wearing gloves and he was stabbing her.
Right. Why would he have?
But
DNA?
And it's all in
had
the
on-
back seat.
It's all in the back seat of a
Right.
car. So, but the utility knife had her blood on it. Everything that they found of his had her blood on it. The other
Not
thing,
him.
yeah, exactly. But it wasn't on him. They said that they had found a leather jacket that they think he had been wearing.
Oh.
And there were fingernail scratches on the leather jacket on the front where she was
no.
fighting with him.
Oh.
Yeah, she fought. The other thing that his defense attorney said, well, so he's got this woman that he tries to fire. He tries to fire her in the middle of the trial because he said that she's boistrous.
An
and that
attorney?
she's- Huh?
Oh, an attorney. You say he has a woman. You mean an
I'm
attorney?
sorry.
A prostitute, a
He
secretary,
found
whatever.
himself a woman at the trial. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. It's his attorney.
Okay.
Okay. And he wants her fired in the middle of the trial because he says, I don't think she's fighting as hard as if I were one of her own.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And the judge said, too bad. So then this woman brought in another woman that was more of his ethnic background. And she actually did the closing arguments. But let me tell you what she said. She said, and this is not a quote, but this is a paraphrase. She said, she brought up the fact that Samantha's DNA was not on him, his person. But then she also said, why is it always about the DNA? She's like, why do we only have to listen to science?
Really?
But I think she just had nothing else to say.
Right.
What is she going to say? Like, what is she going to say about this guy? I mean, he's on the prowl. And his Facebook page was full of innuendos and cryptic messages about him hunting for a woman to kill.
Oh my gosh.
So, what are you going
Why
to say
is it
about
always
this guy?
about the
What is his
DNA?
redeeming quality? So she just was like, no, why do we have to talk about the DNA all the time? Why do we only have to listen to science? So she didn't do a good job. She's not doing it. He should have been complained more about her than the other woman, but he didn't. So he got convicted of all 3 charges.
Good.
During the impact statement, his mama, Nathaniel Rowland's mama, stood up in court and asked for leniency. And she said, he didn't do this.
Oh.
And the judge got pissed and said, I am not going to sit here and listen to you tell me that you think he's innocent. He has just been convicted by a jury.
Right.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. He would not have it. And then she said he was a good boy and that she again said, there's no way that he did this because I would know because I'm his mother.
Oh, right.
That's they
not
always
how
say
it
that,
works,
don't
Mama. That's not how it
they? They
works.
always say that. He was such a good person.
Such a
He
good
would never
boy.
do that.
He was such a good boy until he wasn't.
Yeah.
Until he was stabbing this woman 100 times. So
what was like the motivation for this in and of itself? It makes
it sound just to kill someone. It just
it
sounded
was,
like
he was hunting
an
women
obsession.
to kill. And they really think that his intention might have been to rape her, but something happened in that back seat where she either fought so hard or he just started stabbing and at that point just continued to stab. There was no sign of any sexual assault.
Right.
That's what I've taken away from this one, right? One, he's mapped it out. He's written an essay on what he's going to do. So it's not just a what do they call it, like a murder of passion or anything like that.
No.
He wanted to kill someone.
He wanted to kill someone. He wanted to kill a woman. Yeah.
Then for her, like you said, it's just a poor woman just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, and also
on that videotape, they could see him slowly driving back and forth when the bar was letting out. He was looking for somebody. And this is why he didn't get the death penalty, because it wasn't premeditated. It's not like he got up and said, I'm going to go kill Samantha. He didn't know her. She was random. So, but I have an issue with that. I think his whole reason for being out there was to find a woman and kill her. But
the murder was premeditated. The victim wasn't.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And the other thing for me on this is, and I've been thinking about this sometimes when I'm listening to your episodes and just generally when you hear things on the news. I mean, obviously, right, it goes without saying, any murder is tragic, but it's when the victim like this is kind of not tortured, but they are made to, it's not quick. She is suffering.
She's suffering.
Fearful, and yes. And to me, that's just, that he's innocent. What he did to her, no.
Yeah. He's not, there's nothing innocent about him. As a matter of fact, the judge said, whoever asked me for leniency, well, that's not part of my DNA.
Yeah.
And he also went on to say that this was the most severe murder he had ever heard in a courtroom. He also said, Samantha fought you hard and left a trail of evidence so the jury could see what you did. He sentenced him to life. I did find out that in South Carolina, when you get sentenced to life, there is no parole. It's you go to prison for life, which I really like that. I enjoy that about the state all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, and we now have the firing squad.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, if they give you the death penalty, you can choose the firing squad or the electric chair. Like they let you choose.
Do we
really? Is that?
I thought we weren't doing the electric chair right now. I thought we were the only option right now was the firing squad.
Is that the only option right now?
I'm not sure. For some reason, I thought so.
I don't know, but we have it. I'm all for it.
Now, in my mind, what they should do is they should turn around and say, now, would you like the electric chair or the firing squad? And when they say firing squad, you say electric chair it is then.
I so agree with you. I agree with you. Aren't you brilliant? I totally agree.
Brilliant.
Or should there be a third option? We do to you what you did to your victim.
Yes, I like that one too. Eye for an eye.
Yeah, eye for an eye.
Extreme, but
right.
Yeah, I've
actually just had a look as well, and I've actually just watched while you've been reading the CCTV of her getting in the car, and it's like it's just such an innocent thing, isn't it? Because a car pulls up, you just assume because you're there and you're waiting, that's what you're expecting.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into an Uber just knowing that a car is due to turn up to pick me up. So it's just
now they tell you the make and model of the car that's picking you up.
Well, in South Carolina, you have to have, so we don't have our license plates on the front of our car in South Carolina. We only have one in the back. But if you're an Uber or a Lyft driver, you have to have one on the front of your car too that gives your license plate. And all right, I'll get to that. All right, I'm going to get to all the changes. So I just wanted to say that her mom stood up in court and during the victim impact statement and said, I relive what you did to my daughter every day, 100 times. You stabbed her and I feel it every day. And she said her dreams were my dreams and her death is my death. Her dad got up and said he had been in so much pain after this, he had actually contemplated suicide twice.
Wow.
But they also are, to me, I have so much respect for them because this case had not even gone to trial yet. And they were already working with the South Carolina government to make some changes about ride sharing. And the government actually passed a bill called the Samantha Josephson Ride Sharing Safety Law. And Uber and Lyft also made a lot of policy changes as well. So they took the law and then they went further with it.
Nice.
So the first thing is they did a whole campaign in downtown Columbia. They put up placards and everything that says hashtag say my name. So they told people when you get into a car, you don't say, are you waiting for Samantha? You say, who are you here for?
Right.
You make them say your name. Right. The other thing is
before getting in the car.
Before getting in the car. Yeah. And that's probably what she said when she got in the car is, are you here for Samantha? Are you my Uber?
Right.
And he was probably like, yep.
Yeah.
There's also now there should be a barcode on the dashboard that you scan with your phone that gives you all of their information. So if you open the door and there's not a barcode on that dashboard, you do not get it in the car.
Right. Nice.
So there's a lot of things. They actually give you a picture now. You get a picture of the car, but the car that she was waiting for was not that car. But if you're me, you see a black sedan, you think, I don't know what cars are.
Well, not only that, but it's 2:30 in the morning. You've been drinking.
Yeah. You don't know.
You're going to, some guy pulls up right in front of you. Of course, you just assume it's an Uber. You're not even thinking 100% like
now
safety.
In South Carolina, they have to have an Uber or a Lyft lighted sign in their dashboard, and you can only get those from Uber and Lyft.
Right.
And the law is that when you leave that company, you have to turn that in, or they will come after you you get fined if you don't turn it in when you leave the company.
Yeah.
So that's also
good. A lot of safety
issues. And like I said, they just said, we don't want her death to be in vain. We want it to mean something because she meant something to us. So they've used it and they've really campaigned hard to educate young college students about ride sharing and stuff like that. The buddy system, don't ever, if you can help it, don't take an Uber. If you're a single woman, don't get in a car by yourself.
Right.
That's hard. Think about how many times you travel for your job.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
But you know what kind of it hits me about that? So I'll be honest, I've not, I'm probably the one here. I've not used Uber. So I've not used that. But we're talking, you said 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel that long ago to not have some of these measures in place in the first place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what amazes me, is that some of these things weren't already there. And
I think
it's only 3 years ago.
I agree. I think that the rules were there, but they weren't being applied, really. They just was I don't think that they had these specific measures in place. Because I've taken Ubers before, and I've gotten in the car and the person's had their picture up there, and I think it was before 2019. I will tell you that when I was in college, I went on spring break one time to the Bahamas on a cruise, and this place, I can't remember if we were in Nassau or Freeport, but where we stopped, we spent the night in the port that night on the ship. So we went out. Of course, we're drunk college girls. There could not have been a more neon sign targeted. These people are here for the taking.
Right.
So we actually got into what we thought was a taxi cab. And asked the guy to take us to some bar that we were going to, and he started driving. And when we got there, we were like, how much do I owe you? And he was like, I'm not a cab driver.
Wow.
Oh no.
That shit is.
Yeah.
Oh no. How are you still here?
Sugar, are you kidding? How am I still here on so many? Okay, it's like there's so many things. But
in that instance, like what a nice Samaritan, although really rude, I guess.
Right.
I know, but what was he? So he's sitting in a parked car on the side of the road with his parking lights on. Now, this time of day, there are armed guards on every corner, and every storefront has like the bar cages that come over. Like this is a locked down town.
Oh my gosh.
And this guy's like in a station wagon.
And y'all are a bunch of girls from North Carolina.
And we are like drunk, knee walking
girls
drunk coming off
college.
of there. Yeah.
God.
And, yeah. I don't know how we didn't get killed.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I'm really glad you didn't.
I'm glad I didn't either because we wouldn't be doing this podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are some crazy stories.
Yeah.
Y'all did a fantastic job.
Yes.
No, thank you for having it. But I want to say actually completely random and totally off topic, but all the things we've been talking about, and I've just noticed because Anne, you've been off screen for a bit. We're doing this and you're in the cutest pink headphones as we're doing this. Yeah, no, I can see that as well, but I'll just say that those are like massive.
I'm sorry, it's not here.
Just say there's so kind of the opposite extreme of like the kind of theme.
Yeah, I know. We're like in pink and purple, and we're all girly and talking about murder.
Oh yeah, you're top, yeah.
So Anne has baked for us.
I did. I baked. I know. Sorry. I did baking, and I'll show it to you.
What have we got?
This is the cutest freaking.
I decided to do a chocolate chip cookie cake.
Oh, no way.
Look at that. Look at that.
Can you see it?
Wait, it's a little bit blurry. Let me print
Hold back.
Screen.
Lou, don't talk for a second because otherwise it goes on to you on my screen.
Can you? It's too blurry, probably.
I think it's too blurry.
I did.
We'll send you a picture. We'll send you a picture. It
says thanks Dan and Lou, and it's got a heart on it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
adorable.
amazing.
And she put glitter on it and everything.
I did. I put some red glitter for Christmas.
Because we want to remind you that we're coming for Christmas.
When you're over, yeah. When
we're over, we're going to be baking with his mom.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. We're going to be like, you sit down, honey. We got this.
Yeah, she's going to say, stay out of my kitchen.
I know. She'll come afterwards with a knife.
Exactly.
Kitchen. Yeah. So tell us what you baked, Sugar. Tell us about it.
So I did this is like a classic. We've got this shop that's in the mall. It's called the Great American Cookie Company. And it was always such a big deal to get a big chocolate chip cookie with icing on it for your birthday instead of a birthday cake. So I decided to do a chocolate chip cookie cake, and I got my recipe from Sally's Baking, which we love.
We love Sally. We stalk her.
And it's basically just a chocolate chip cookie that you put into a 9-inch cake pan.
It smells good. I want some.
Right. You want to taste it.
I mean, why do I have to sit here and smell it?
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry you're not
here because it looks adorable.
I'll have to have my Oreo.
Yeah, you just have to bite the Oreo when I'm eating the cookie cake. You can bite the Oreo and pretend.
That's amazing. Look at that.
And then I just did a basic buttercream icing.
Yeah, it smells so good. I'm just telling you, it smells so good.
It does smell good.
I don't need a plate.
You're actually making me well hungry at this point.
I'm so sorry.
Look at that. That's proper, isn't it? That's my word. That looks so good.
Dan, stop talking because it's skipping to you now.
Highlight their screen and pin it. That's what I've done.
There you go.
When it comes to food, that looks so good.
It's the only modification I made is it calls for just regular unsalted butter, and I did brown butter,
and I can tell it's got a nutty taste.
Yeah,
guys, this is so
brown
good.
butter is just a stick of butter that you melt and you bring it to a boil and let it cook until it gets these little brown bits in it. Then you take it off. And it makes the butter very nutty, caramelly tasting.
So good.
I like how Lou, I like how this cake has got our name on it, but we're not having any of it.
Yeah. I'm saying like, damn, what have I got in the cupboards downstairs because I want to eat now?
I guess you'll just have to have another Pop-Tart.
Another Pop-Tart, yep.
It's like, thanks, Dan and Lou, for making us make this cake that we can eat. And, you know,
We really appreciate it. We appreciate it a lot.
If there was any way I could get one to you, I would totally do it.
We'll deliver it to you. Oh my God. I got to put it down because I can't stop eating it. It's so good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I think that's it. I don't know.
Tell us about your social media. Where can people find you again?
They said on Twitter.
I want them to say it again.
On Twitter.
We're on Twitter.
You can find us on all major platforms. You can go on Twitter at Casting Views, or you can go castingviewspod@gmail.com.
I love it. But we also have social media.
I know. I'm just sitting here thinking, call the Aberdasher because we need a better top hat for these two.
What's an haberdasher? It's a hat maker. What's a haberdasher?
No, it's like it's haberdasher.
I can't say that.
It's like a men's fancy clothing place.
Oh, like a tailor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if anyone is listening to us for the first time, absolutely pop over to our pod.
Oh my gosh, listen. We talk about you all the time. Our last episode, we talked about what did we talk about? We talked about going to see Dan and Lou for Christmas.
I think we talked about how we were going to surprise them. But
yes, we're going to surprise them and come for Christmas. So surprise, get ready. So we have social media, just real quick.
We do.
We're on Twitter. And we're at Sugar Murder. And we're on the Instagram at Sugar Coated Murder. We're on Facebook. We have a regular Facebook page and a fan page, and everybody can be in the fan page because we don't have enough friends.
And we've got email, and we'd love to get emails.
And how can they email us?
They can email us at murder.sugarcoated@gmail.com.
There you go.
I know. And we love an email.
Listen, Dan and Lou, this has been spectacular.
So much fun.
We cannot say thank you enough for coming on here. We adore you guys. We love your podcast, and we just adore the two of you. And we cannot wait to spend Christmas with you next year.
It's gonna be amazing.
Bring it on.
Although I feel like our Christmas spreads will be disappointing because, again, we feel like America does it properly and we kind of do it half-assed.
Well, we'll take care of that because we're not half-assing Christmas. So get ready for
Italian South Carolina Christmas. Yeah.
There you go.
Listen, my kids, I think for Thanksgiving this year, we're doing an Italian Thanksgiving. So we love Italian food.
Pictures.
Don't worry. I'll send you pictures.
No, that's an already made lasagna from somewhere.
Hey.
Sorry. I'm not saying against you, but I'm hoping I'm involved in Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah. Well, I believe in catering Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in cooking it. It does not make me, I don't feel thankful when I'm in the kitchen all day.
No.
Everybody else is. So
No.
in order for me to feel thankful, I get it catered.
Do you know one of the other things I'm really excited about coming to the show? I want to get to hear your outro, your little slogan.
Oh yeah. Do you want to
hear
say it?
Live. No. I want to hear you two have to say it. I need to hear it live.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say before we leave you, there's one thing I have to say, Sugar.
Okay.
Stay sweet
and don't murder.
If you kill people,
we will talk about you.
That's right.
You betcha. You're going, guys.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, everybody. Go and find. We're going to put your the link for all of your stuff. We're going to put your whole link tree in our show notes so people can find you. Cheers. Absolutely, you guys. Cheers. Tally ho.
Tally ho.
Bye, y'all.
Call the Aberdasher.
Call the Habadabba.
Aberdasher. What is the matter with you?
Abadabba. I can't say that one. We'll have to figure out.
No, I could get the butler to bring my tea now. That's all.
Can you please call Bigglesworth and ask him to bring your tea now?
Please do bring my tea.
I promise I'll expand my range of American accents as well the next time I come.
Please do. And we would like you to sing us a country song and an American accent next time.
Maybe I'll try and go like heavy New York and be like, yeah, I'm walking here.
I think you nailed it. I love it. You nailed it. Guys, thank you so much. We adore you, and we will talk to you very soon.
Pleasure being with you.
All right, y'all take care.
Bye.
This has been Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a deliciously entertaining true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.